Hi everybody, welcome to Chump Blockers episode 2. I am Alex and I'm joined here by Zip Pimple Skullfucker.
Excuse me?
Noah.
Hello.
Noah Platts.
I'm here as usual.
So as soon as the last podcast hit, we were inundated with new spoilers. So
Yeah.
we're really looking forward to getting down and dirty and maybe not down and dirty. Well.
Maybe depending on how sort of raucous this one gets, because there are some incredibly good cards to look at.
I've marked out on a couple of things. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean there's some. We've got all the Planeswalkers to look at. We've got some awesome new cards.
I was just thinking, a lot of the predictions that we made last week were proven completely wrong, and I couldn't be happier.
No, I know. Yeah, we called Wizards out and basically called them a load of bitches, really. But they've really come up trumps. Like this is looking like it's going to be the best core set possibly ever. They're reprinting stuff that needs to be reprinted because of prices, modern staples, legacy staples. We're getting new things that could be seen in Eternal formats and Standard, and some incredible new cards. So, without further ado, let's get going with the spoilers.
Right, so first of all, we're going to look at some Planeswalkers. We're going to look at Ajani Steadfast.
Oh, yeah!
Take it away.
Right, it's a good cost. 4 mana is like a typical Planeswalker value. But this is the first Planeswalker that only has 1 colour value. So it's 3 and 1 white. Usually...
Not 2 and 2 white.
Not 2 and 2 white or whatever, 2 and 2 whatever. But this is an Ajani fresh from the grief of losing Elspeth. And you can see even on the card he's wearing Elspeth's cloak, which is just absolutely awesome. So he's a double cost. It's it's not a double colour cost. It's only the 1 cost. So let's go through its abilities. It comes in with 4 loyalty. Its +1 is until the end of turn. Up to 1 target creature gets +1/+1, first strike, vigilance, and lifelink.
That's crazy.
It's a crazy +1. We go into a -2, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each other Planeswalker you control.
Was good in team?
Good in a team thing, good in Super Friends, but then the -7 ability, you get an emblem with, if a source would deal damage to you or a Planeswalker you control, prevent all but 1 of that damage.
That's so good.
So let's start at the top end with the +1. It doesn't do what Planeswalkers do best, which is protect itself.
Protect themselves, right.
You have to pass that check to be a good Planeswalker.
Sure.
However, it's absolutely bonkers. This first ability is ridiculous if you have a creature out.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were talking about it earlier, I said, I'm not sure if I had first strike or not when I was thinking back to the card without looking at it, and now obviously it is first strike, vigilance and lifelink, and +1. It pretty much it makes pretty much any creature.
There isn't a creature you could put this on where it would be a bad thing.
No.
Do you know? It's just good. I don't really know where to start with it. It's good 3 times over.
Yeah, it's
really,
fantastic.
Isn't it?
I mean, it's a great first ability. It doesn't protect itself, but it gives a creature so many good abilities, and obviously you're going to be wanting to gain life in white, and obviously vigilance and first strike are very white abilities, so it does everything that's good. Its -2 ability works really well in a Super Friends deck, so that the Super Friends, if you don't know what it is basically multiple colours so you can fit as many Planeswalkers in as you can.
All the Planeswalkers.
And also, if you have a team out of white weenies, which Ajani Steadfast looks like it might be good in, you can spread out a counter onto each thing.
Interestingly, with the cost though, this is objectively the easiest Planeswalker for you to splash for.
Yes, easy to splash for. We've got other new dual lands to talk about. We've got the gates will still be in standard. The shocks will still be in standard when this is out, and then obviously we've got the scry lands as well. So there's plenty of ways to get just that 1 white mana you need. It's a fantastic Planeswalker. You know, despite not being able to protect itself, it provides excellent creature pump. Obviously, as you said, easily splash for, but that -7 ability.
Well, I'm just looking at your notes here that you've jotted down, and you've pretty much nailed it. It basically says you win the game unless opponent is playing some janky alternate win con, like Mill or Master of Cruelties.
Yeah, because, it prevents all but 1 of that damage. Unless someone's playing Mill or a certain way to get rid of you, and because he can't get rid of emblems.
No.
Steadfast is, and because he's on 5 loyalties, he comes in unless you want a -2 him.
Yeah.
It does not going to take people long.
Potentially, if they don't get the emblem off until very late game, then they might not win.
No, but I mean,
it's
honestly going to see standard play. It's really, really good. I don't see a place where this isn't going to see standard play. If this was printed any time in Magic, it would see standard play.
Is this better than Mentor of Heroes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's
I
less
agree.
restrictive, better abilities.
Yep.
Let's move on. Jace, the Living Guild Pact.
People have been pretty upset about this.
Yeah, but that's because everyone wants Jace the Mind Sculptor.
That's what I said.
Everyone wants a 4-ability Planeswalker.
Oh, what
Whoa!
you mean? It's Jason. It's not the most broken card in the format.
Hey, come on, guys.
No, the most broken card in the format is coming up in 4 cards time. Or 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
But this Jace, I like this Jace. It is 2 and 2 blue.
There's that traditional cost of a Planeswalker.
He comes in with 5 loyalty counters and his +1 ability. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your graveyard. I quite like that ability.
I think it's good. It digs you deeper. It's like a pseudo scry effect. But putting things into the graveyard's not always a bad thing, because it can give you some decent options for deck building.
Absolutely.
Blue and black, even blue and green maybe you might be able to do something with graveyard fetch. There are cards in green that do that casually, maybe not in standard.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are options there. But it is basically a pseudo scry.
I think there's always a situation as well where maybe not always, but most of the time you'll pick your 2 cards up and you'll think, this is useful for me this game, this is not so useful for me this game.
Yeah.
So even if it just goes in the graveyard and stays there, that's fine.
Yes.
And it's thinned your deck out because, no 2 games are the same.
No.
And it'll help you sort of like sculpt how you want the game to proceed.
And that's what Jace does. That's what Jace does.
Yeah.
So it's -3. Return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Now, I think this is an excellent ability. People have been going on about how underpowered this Jace is, but honestly, I don't think it is. I think it's really good. It's not Jace the Mind Sculptor, and that's why people think Jace is underpowered. But the -3's ability is excellent. It still leaves Jace at a relevant loyalty, even if you play it when it comes in. He's still at 2 loyalty, which is fine.
Yeah.
And also, it's non-land permanent bounce. Most bounce is usually creatures. You're getting your disperse, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, no, disperse is non-land permanent. But most bounce, voyages, and things like that are creatures.
Yeah.
So it's a really good utility.
So you think about like exiles and things like enchantments that have exiled.
Yeah, enchantments that have exiled, other
Get rid of them.
planeswalkers.
Yeah,
you can get rid of other planeswalkers if they're about to hit loyalty.
Yeah.
For the ultimate, or if they're being a bit troublesome, it's a good way to get rid of them. So it's really good.
Artifacts.
Yeah, it's good utility. Let's put it that way. It's sort of what Jace does best, is being the sort of Swiss Army knife.
Well,
Planeswalker.
because it's just non-land permanent, destroying it outright would be broken.
Yes.
So I think it would either be destroy creature, perhaps, or destroy enchantment. But it's a better utility because it's everything, but it just goes back to the owner's hand.
Yeah.
And that's not like objectively a bad thing for you, because if they want it out, they've got to cast it again.
Yeah,
You've
or
basically set them back.
Yeah, or you might have something with a good enter the battlefield trigger that you want to get back to your hand.
Absolutely.
You never know. You really do not know. It's -8 ability. You go through this one because you like this ability, don't you?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library. You draw 7 cards. You draw 7 cards, not your opponent. So that's basically giving you tons of card advantage.
I think this is pretty ridiculous.
They're top decking for the rest of the game. You've got a full hand.
Unless you're I'm saying this in the nicest way possible. Unless you're an incredibly bad Magic player, you're going to win the game when you get this ultimate off. Because, their top decking gives you 7 options, whereas an opponent, as I say, is going to be top decking from then on. It's going to make most players scoop when this happens.
Yes.
I don't think anyone's going to play on when they've got no hands and you've got 7 options. When you're playing blue and you've got control, so even if they do get an option, you're going to most likely have got something to get rid of it.
I don't play blue as a rule, but I know that if somebody did this to me from across the table, I'd pretty much know it was over from there on.
Yes.
Unless the state of the game beforehand was like viciously in my favour.
Yeah, our opinion basically is that this Planeswalker is really good. It's not Jace the Mind Sculptor good because they can't print something that cheap.
Oh, they're
broken.
terrified of that.
They're terrified of printing a Planeswalker like that again. It's not Jace the Mind Sculptor good, but it will see play somewhere. Not sure what sort of deck archetype this will fit into. That'll be seen when the set comes out. I think a lot of these things you can actually place already into what sort of archetype they'll be, but Jace is one that I think's up in the air, depending on what happens. But his -3 ability for me is excellent. I think that's going to be the real game-changing ability on it, because you can really do some work for you and either for your permanents or their permanents.
And he will reach like ultimate level
Very quickly. Very quickly.
Only 3 turns,
yeah,
including the turn he comes out. So.
Yes.
Say yes, it's Lily Vess.
That was incredibly homosexual.
Yeah, you like that.
I did. I got
reprint.
Yeah, this is a reprint of the original, one of the original Planeswalkers from the Lorwyn block.
One of the Lauren 5.
Yeah, it's the original one. Liliana Vess, as you can see there. I love that artwork. I think it's the best Liliana artwork.
Look at her mashed up face.
She is a wreck. She's 5 mana, 3 and 2 black. She comes in with 5 loyalty. She can start on 6 loyalty, obviously, if you plus her up once. And her +1 ability is target player discards a card.
Okay. You can't choose it.
No, it's the only downside for me for this Planeswalker, because it doesn't protect itself. I mean, I know the others don't that we've talked about, but their +1s are a bit more exciting than this. Target player discards a card. You know, having opponents or yourself in certain builds again can be good. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to be the first ability you want to be using with this card most of the time. The -2 is a lot more exciting. There's not much more to say about the +1.
No.
If you need to do it,
there is one more thing. Let me just think about how this is working in my head. You could trip yourself up horrendously playing against Selesnya if they have a Loxodon Smite.
There you go. That's one of the things I was talking about. It really can backfire, because it doesn't only not protect itself, but if you're playing a certain archetype, it might actually be your downfall. Its -2, however, is absolutely brilliant. Search your library for a card, then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. Not only do you get a free shuffle out of this, which a lot of people like if they're, you know... I don't really know what to say about that. People just do like to have their deck shuffled regularly.
Yeah. This is an interesting pivot point for us, because last week we were talking about Obnix.
Yes.
Obnix. The one. And we were saying, well, how relevant is it to deal 10 damage to somebody who's searching through the library? That hasn't been in standard. Well...
There it is.
There it is one time, but judging from a lot of the spoilers we've seen and we'll be covering today, there's a lot of searching the library going.
Yeah, and this is one of the better ones, because obviously it's on a Planeswalker, but this is going to be the ability you want to use most of the time. Black... Yeah. Obviously is all about tutoring, and this is good because, you know, it's a version of Vampiric or Cruel Tutor where you don't actually lose the life.
Yeah.
And it gives black decks a bit of consistency.
Well, Lily loses the life, technically.
Yeah, technically, but I mean, you're not losing life.
No.
But I guess you're right. Someone is losing life, but it's not you, and that's what matters.
Yeah. The -8 is EDH horrific.
Oh my word! Well, it's Rise of the Dark Realms.
It sure is.
It's Rise of the Dark Realms on Liliana Vess. That's where they got the effect from. So it's now basically printed twice. Apart from this time, you have to wait for ages to use it. Oh no, wait! You have to wait to use the other one because it's so expensive. But you know, it's that ability. It's
put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control.
If it happens, you're most likely winning anyway.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you sure will be after that happens. Unless someone just board wipes straight after, which is feel bad.
But fantastic in EDH.
Yeah, in EDH it's amazing. At -8, it's going to take you a lot of time to get there, as you're most likely going to want to -2 her at some point, and that's probably going to be the main thing.
The -2 is the ability that you want her there for, and it's a good enough ability to just carry the card on its own.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good card, classically black abilities, going to fit well into build, you know, any sort of black build really. It fits, but you're going to be using her as a tutor, as we say, the majority of the time.
We got another reprint.
We have Chandra Powermaster, good Planeswalker, well-rounded Planeswalker for 4 mana. Pseudo protects itself with burn.
I'll have to get my magnifying glass out to read the writing.
Oh my word. 0 cost abilities, which is always interesting to see on Planeswalkers, and an ultimate that will most likely end the game if it gets off. So, you know, it did see some standard play in M14. It sees still play now in some red decks.
Let me just tell you, I've got a story about Chandra's.
Here we go.
I've got a story about Chandra's ultimate.
Cue music.
I was playing against somebody. I think he was playing Super Friends.
Super Friends.
Yeah, and he had a Chandra out, and I basically just didn't see it as a threat. I wanted to just swing for the face the whole game. I wasn't interested in Chandra. I was going to win. The board state was I was going to win next turn, but it's his turn.
Right.
I've got maybe like 10 life.
Right.
He ultimate Chandra just starts turning cards over, and he says, "There's one card I need to see."
Yeah.
Turns him over to his 10th. Is it? Yeah, his 10th card. He turns over Boris Charm.
Oh. Ow.
Yeah, and he beat me.
Ow. Yeah, so that's what I mean.
Yeah.
When we say this ultimate will end games, most likely in the right build, this is going to end games. But anyway, let's look at the first ability, which is a +1. Chandra Powermaster deals 1 damage to target player and 1 damage to up to 1 target creature that player controls, and that creature can't block this turn.
That's okay.
Very good. Not only can it ping off creatures and spark a player, but it gets around blockers, which is something red doesn't deal with very well, because red, classically has very high attack, very low toughness.
Yes.
So to get round things, it's not often going to be able to get past blockers without dying itself.
Well, getting rid of a blocker is pretty relevant.
Getting rid of a block for a turn, or even just being able to ping something off that's weak, is good. It's not really much else you can say about that. It's a good way for red to get the win. It can push you through that damage, which is good. The
0 ability is kind of like an extra draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not overly exciting. It's a 0 ability, so it's going to be useful. If you're going to play this, play the ability before playing your land, as you can actually use the card as your land drop, which keeps your hand fresh.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing. And
much like Quarter of Crucifix, how that's used.
Yeah. But you'll want to pay the cost of any card that you do before you play anything else that turn, before it becomes permanently exiled. So don't waste your mana before using that ability. But it's good. It gives you an extra card if you need it.
I like the flavour because it's like, get out now. Oh, don't need it. Exile it. Forget about it.
Yeah,
and,
Well,
Chandra's very
it's what red's about.
Well, yeah,
it's all about
emotion and
instinct and doing it on the fly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we said, the -7, really cool ultimate. Fits Chandra's character well. It's just like, okay, one spell's not going to do you, fine, I'll just keep blasting fire into your face so you've melted. But it's all about rage, smashing someone's face with, brutality, fire. And, X on the top 10 cards will most likely, as we said, in the right build, find you a chunk of burn spells to, use the most damaging one. And when you keep casting that 3 times, it's either going to clear the board, i.e. Amizian Mortars, is going to probably clear the board for you. Pump a creature, I'm looking at, some of the pump that's been used, like Titan Strength, even sees some play now. You can hit 3 times Titan Strength, something's not a bad way to get through some damage.
And as I said before, even though it's going out of standard fairly soon, things like Boros Charm, where you can just, for 5, or for 15.
Exactly. It's just going to be insane. But, I mean, when the ultimate comes off, it goes off big. Chandra's okay. She will probably see play in red decks again. The best ability is the +1 for red decks, as it negates blockers. This is my personal opinion. And you can push through damage past big blockers that would otherwise prove your downfall in games, which is where red struggles. If you allow someone to have a big board presence, red really struggles.
Yes. It doesn't matter how big their creature is if it can't block.
No. One of the colours it does struggle against is green, and we're moving on to...
Oh my god!
Sorry. Nissa Worldwaker is...
Great name.
Incredible name. We see the Hedrons in the background. Pretty much confirms we're going to return to Zenda Key sooner rather than later. Nissa is one of the most busted Planeswalkers we've seen in a long time.
I adore this card. Green, it's no secret, green's my favourite colour. This just fits so into my sensibilities.
And I think you possibly agree, we talked about this earlier on, could make green a dominant standard force post-rotation of Ravnica and things like that.
This and a couple of other key cards have pretty much cemented it.
Yeah, I mean...
with what's in standard already... Course of Crucifix and Sylvan Caryatid, we'll get onto it later, how they're 2 of the top 5 cards in standard at the moment. So.
Yes, they are. But a Planeswalker with 2+1 abilities is always going to be interesting to look at.
Let's go from the top.
So let's go.
It's just 3 and 2 green. That's pretty standard for a Planeswalker. She comes in with only 3 loyalty, but there's a bit of a secret behind it, and we'll get to it in a second. But her first +1 ability... Target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature with trample. It's still a land. So that's target land, not target basic land, not target forest.
Darksteel Citadel.
Yeah.
We said last week how bad it was. This makes it really good.
Yes.
Probably actually we'll see play now. But this is why it's going to see play.
So
it's just stupid. I mean, the first ability gives you a creature for the turn in place of a land. Basically, it becomes a Mutavault and crack. A land becomes a Mutavault that's basically doubled.
4/4 that's one of the bridging points for
because you get out the way of burn.
Yeah, that takes your creature in terms of sort of body up a tier, doesn't it?
Yes, because if you're 3/3 and you get burned and your land's gone as well, you're going to feel really bad.
But 4/4's
a lot.
That's a decent level of protection. I mean,
because sorcery speed removal, which is Amizian Mortars, which is sorcery speed.
But you'll lose a land if somebody heroes downfalls it, but...
Yeah, but I mean, trample as well. Having trample's really relevant. It's going to push through damage.
The second +1 ability...
Oh man, this is even better.
Untap up to 2 target forests.
2? Whoa.
4. I'm sorry. I don't know where I got that from. Untap up to 4 target forests. So if you use nothing but forests to get Nissa out, you can essentially play Nissa for 1 forest.
And then you got 4 more forests to do something with. To sit something in front of her, to protect her, until you can keep +1ing and +1ing and +1ing until you get to that -7 ability. However, I mean, we'll talk about the -7 in a second, because I just want to keep talking about if you have something to protect her, you get to play something every turn, then untap that land and play it again. It's like having a second turn to play creatures.
Yeah.
The only thing is you're going to empty your hand very quickly, but that's not necessarily a bad thing when the big things are in your hand and you can get them onto the field.
Absolutely.
But the -7 ability is... it actually makes me feel slightly ill that I might have to look at this across a table from me and just think, well, I'm fucked next turn.
Yep.
This is just bonkers. Not hard to reach with 2+1 abilities. No. She doesn't she doesn't exactly protect herself with a creature as such, because it's only till the end of turn. It doesn't make something to protect herself constantly. But the fact that you have to untap forests will allow you to play things to protect her.
+1 isn't until end of turn.
Oh.
Yeah, it's even better than that.
Shit, yeah. Okay.
No, I see why you assume it would be. Like, because you're thinking Mutavault.
Yeah.
But it's just...
Holy shit.
Constantly an elemental creature.
So she does protect herself. Yeah. Scratch that. She's even more broke than I thought she was. But that -7 ability is ridiculous.
Search your library for any number of basic land cards. Any number of basic land cards. Any number of basic land cards. Any number of
Alex,
basic...
wait. Let me just fix you.
Okay.
Fix you up. There you go.
Thanks.
Alex has stopped repeating himself.
Put them onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. These lands become 4/4 elemental creatures with trample. They're still lands. Not tapped. Well, they'll still have summoning sickness, but they're not tapped. Any number. So all your lands.
Oh my...
All your basic lands.
Do they have summoning sickness? Because they're lands.
If you play a Mutavault and bring it out as a creature the same turn, it still has summoning sickness. So,
okay.
So they will.
I don't play with Mutavaults, so I wouldn't know.
But so you'll still have 17 4/4 blockers.
Oh my god! I mean, this is.
I mean, let's not split hairs, right? Nissa she's built for mono green specifically.
Yes.
She's going to work in standard with the shocklands before they go out, because they are.
But she won't work as well.
She won't work as well. No, this card is built for mono green, but it makes mono green all on its own something that's special and brilliant and viable.
Very viable. It's going to make, as we said, it might make mono green a choice deck for the standard coming up post rotation.
You want nothing but basic lands in your deck,
because it's. I know the thing with green as well. It's got so many awesome tools already, as you said.
You'll get up to that 5 mana for Nissa in no time flat in green.
Yeah, and especially with your coursers and your Caryatids.
And I'm fairly certain that they'll reprint Elvish Mystic.
And if they're not, they'll reprint some variant. I mean, they usually do.
Yeah, there'll be some 1-drop.
So turn 1, turn 2, and then she's out.
Basically.
And then, holy shit, that +1 and tap 4 target forest and mono green is going to take the game over very quickly.
The +1 is good enough. The ultimate, I mean, you'll never get it off, because it's just going to make such an enormous target.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's going to target it, we're going to come up to next.
Oh my.
Holy fuck.
Well, egg on my face. Fuck us, I guess. Wizards must have heard us bitching.
Where do we start with this card? 7 mana makes him the most expensive walker other than Nicol Bolas. And he's the second walker ever, other than Jace the Mind Sculptor, to have 4 abilities. And we all know what happened there. Garrick is insane. He's flavourful, he's deadly, and he's game-winning. And he's Garrick the Apex Predator. Randy Orton, eat your heart out.
This is great. This is absolutely great. 4 ability. Mark Rosewater threw me for a loop with his, I don't know if we will ever print another 4 ability Planeswalker. You've had this shit planned for weeks, years maybe. I hate you.
7 mana, 5, 1 black, 1 green, so he is Golgari coloured.
That's fine.
But he has very black abilities, very green abilities, and just, oh my word, he comes in with 5 loyalty. He has a +1 ability of to destroy another target Planeswalker.
So for absolutely no downside whatsoever, you can have the best side of Dreadball.
Yeah, it's flavourful to the point of sickliness. It's that flavourful,
yeah.
And it's just a salty. It's a badass first ability. Let's be honest. It won't be used the majority of the time, but when it's used, you're gonna know about it because he's just going to be the last walker standing. He's just going to be like, okay, you've got, oh, you're what? You're about to get a Johnny off where you've got unlimited? Like, no.
Well, unless
No.
unless they've got an answer for him.
Unless they've got a Garrick themselves.
Unless they've got an answer for Garrick, you've got an answer for every Planeswalker they have.
Yes. And after that, you've got another +1, so another Planeswalker with 2+1 abilities. Put a 3/3 Black Beast creature token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. Protect itself in the best way.
Yeah.
It's going to be the ability of choice, most likely. Because the 3/3 Black Beast with Death Touch is nothing to be sniffed at. It's a big creature.
I used to think Death Touch on something with power 3 maybe was a bit getting into the realms of like redundant, but it can trade. It can trade with anything in the game.
Yeah, of course, a 1/1 Death Touch can trade with anything in the game. However, flavorfully wise, Garrick's always made these big beasts, and to give them Death Touch just for having that black side of him, I think works so well. It's going to block for days. It's going to push through damage. That's the thing with having a higher Death Touch creature.
Yeah.
Is people don't want to get in the way of it if they've got something big.
Yeah.
They just want to let the 3 go through. So 3's going to get through most of the time. It's going to make sure Garrick's protected. It's an ability that's going to roll that Garrick train on.
Yes.
Because you can protect him, you can sit these beasts in front of Garrick and just keep going with him.
Whereas a lot of Planeswalkers tend to, like, I play Dommy Raids in my Jund monsters. Dommy Raid helps with what the deck's doing, but this Garrick card is what the deck is doing.
Yeah, you could just play this and the whole deck fits around it.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, if you're playing black-green, you don't have to do a lot to make the deck fit around it, because it just works on its own. But that's good, it works, because Garrick is this lone sort of crazy guy who's just going around killing everyone now.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to work with anyone else, he doesn't want to work with anyone else.
He's
doing his own
predator,
thing. He's doing his own thing, he doesn't need help.
See that axe?
It's fucking big.
I always think, see where he's holding that axe at the top?
Yeah.
I always think if you hold an axe there, you can't get a good swing on it, surely.
Look at his arms, he can get a fucking good swing at it. Telling you that. His -3 ability is to destroy target creature, and you gain life equal to its toughness. It is a Sever the Soul without the non-black clause. Destroying a creature is going to be relevant most of the time in a creature-dominated standard like we have now, and I think we were saying earlier we were going to be even happy if this was that opponent gains life.
If it was just
Devour Flesh.
For -3, that would be okay.
It's even better.
It's the reverse of that.
You suck the creature's soul up.
Oh, Garrick, you tease.
It's stupid, it's nuts, it's crazy.
You can put this out the turn he comes down if your opponent has a crazy creature out.
And just get rid of it and then gain an absolute shed ton of life.
Yes.
And then just keep +1 Gareth. Gareth?
Gareth. Maybe it should be Gareth, Apex Predator Gareth. Found that so much funnier than I should have done. Gareth. Apex Predator.
Gareth the Apex Predator. Anyway, moving on to Garrick. Oh, for God's sake.
Garrick's -8 ability. Target opponent gets an emblem. With...
First ever time.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah, an opponent will get an emblem.
Emblems that you cannot remove under any circumstances. With whenever a creature attacks you, it gets +5/+5 engage trample until end of turn.
So not attacking you
because attacking the person with the emblem.
So
you understand.
Yeah.
This isn't like a lot of ultimates are just like flashy sort of death or glory, like Chandra's is, okay, turn over 10 cards, got the one I want. Oh, Dommy Raids is, everything on the field, on my side of the field is just crazy. Yeah. This is less flashy.
This is just like, I'm coming for you and you are going to die.
Yes.
It's inevitable, but it's slow.
Yeah.
But that's what Garrick does. He's not coming swiftly. He's going to stare at you and make sure you know that you're going to die.
And you're going to get 6/6 trample Elvish Mystics all up in your grill.
They're like feeding off Garrick's crazy energy. But, let's be honest. Once you've been targeted by this, you're targeted for the hunt. You're screwed. Like, because obviously you can't get rid of an emblem. It basically lives in the command zone.
Yes.
And it's insane. If this happens, players are scooping. There's no way you can deal with it, because even if they try and oppose it and get rid of some of these creatures somehow.
Well, if you've got like 3 of those black beast creatures that you put out earlier,
they're 8/8 death touches.
Yes.
With trample. Which is insane. Death touch and trample is ridiculous because it only has to deal 1 damage to kill the creature.
So you get Garrick out, +1 him to get the 3/3 black beasts out 3 times. On the 3rd time, on the 4th turn that he's out, get his ultimate off, and then you've got 860. You've won.
You've won.
You've won. Yeah.
You've won because basically Death Touch and Trample together means that it only has to deal 1 damage and then the rest tramples over, so it's at least 7 going to hit. It's stupid. Even at 7 mana, this Walker will see play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially
since one of his colours is green and the ramping green is
intensely good. Every single one of his abilities are insane in effect and flavour. If this card gets even 1 whole turn in play and you can untap with him on board, you've pretty much won. It's game over.
Yeah.
It really is. Of course, it can be removed with Hero's Downfall like any other Planeswalker, but we don't complain about that.
No.
And Hero's Downfall doesn't often actually get rid of Planeswalkers. You'd be surprised how little you see Hero's Downfall taken out of Planeswalker.
Hero's Downfall, I see a lot of players have Hero's Downfall because they realise it's a good card and use it to get rid of a 2-drop.
Yes.
Or something, rather than... I mean,
wait till turn 4 or 5 when this thing's going to come out with ramp.
Yeah. I think there's just something fantastic about this card in that it basically... It can play the game of Magic on its own.
Yeah.
It can destroy planeswalkers. It can destroy creatures and gain life. It can create creatures, and it can
be insane.
Finish the game.
Yeah,
it's a great card, and the cost 7 is perfect.
Yeah, because even despite its expense, it can be bought out with ramp. But
you have to dedicate it.
Yeah, you have to. But you should dedicate yourself to it because it's ridiculous. Wizards have hit it out of the park. They really have hit it out of the park with this one. Sorry for ever doubting you, because this is one hell of a card. So that's our Planeswalkers done.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. Now we're moving on to the normal cards. And we start with Perilous Vault.
I like this card.
It's cool. It's a 4 mana, basically an artifact board wipe thing.
Mythic rare.
And it's another board wipe that will make its home in EDH.
Yep.
And it's going to be a feel-bad mythic to open if you're looking for standard cards.
Yes.
However, due to its likely success in EDH, because it's a really good removal card, it's never going to be bad to open one in foil. You're going to want to open one in foil because the foils are going to be quite expensive because obviously it's a mythic, it's not going to show up often. EDH players will want one. It's 5 and tap, exile it, and exile all the non-land permanents. It's good because it doesn't get rid of everything. And once again, we are back in Zenda Key with the flavour text.
Yes.
We talk about the Spirit Dragon Ugin, arranging the Hindrance of Zenda Key to direct ley lines of energy to disrupt one is to unleash devastation and chaos. So we are back.
Like what? Like the Eldrazi?
Like the Eldrazi.
Oh.
So we're back to talking about Zenda Key. It's flavourful, and it's awesome.
I expect to... Maybe not because it's Mythic Rare. I was about to say I expect to see this in a few players at FNM, but I think at Mythic Rare it's just out of reach. It's just out of reach of you, like, opening a couple in your first few packs and thinking, oh, okay, I'll play around with it.
Because serious players aren't going to play it.
No, not in standard. Not in any serious format, for that matter.
But EDH, definitely, it's fantastic.
But I do like the idea of it, and I will probably play it in EDH because it's colourless. So.
Yeah, it's great. Moving on to a card that is awesome sauce.
Noah loves it.
So good. It's another card that makes mono green so good. It's Karrde of Calling. An amazing reprint, and this is from Ravnica. It's one we saw coming as Convoke's return to Magic. It's one that we predicted before. Obviously, it relies on having ramp and/or a lot of creatures, but there's a reason the original holds a high price, which is about $40, and double that for foil, maybe even up to $100 if it's really good condition.
Not bad.
It's pre-ordering around $10 right now. It was actually pre-ordering at 6 this morning, and already it's up to 10.
It's going to be a good card.
And it's sold out pretty much everywhere.
This, already. Garrick and Nissa are the 3 cards that I was talking about that I said. And there's also one more, which I'll mention later on. These are 3 of the cards that are going to make green a force.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic. I mean, obviously, the reason why green is going to be bonkers is standard, because you can, with Nissa, you can have that untapped full forest, and you have more mana to play your Karrde of Calling.
Yeah.
And you're going to be getting creatures out, and we also talked about the loot guy, the guy with the loot and the worm.
That's the other card that I was going to mention.
This is the thing we're going to be mentioning, because you can...
His name is Yisan the Wanderer Bard.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
You can get creatures out to convoke with. You can start curving out to, again, got more creatures out, the cheaper this spell's going to be. And also, those creatures might also be mana dorks. Although mana dorks, it basically makes everything into mana dorks.
Yes.
That's the thing with convoke. Everything basically taps for whatever mana the creature or artifact or whatever colour it is.
Absolutely. It's another card though worth mentioning that searches your library. So another reason to have Obnics in your sideboard if you're playing black.
Another fun thing about this, not only is it fantastic, it's also instant speed. So I know. So you can even like use it as a snap thing to get blockers in. It's gonna rely on a heavy board state, but that's what green does, and it's gonna work fantastically in the later stages of the game.
Iverson,
what's she doing here?
3 white.
Because Garrick's here. That's why Iverson's here.
Yeah.
Because Iverson and Garrick have flavour pasts together.
Did they kiss?
No. I think they should have. She should have wrapped her little feathery rings around his penis, giving it a good soft wank.
You see that this spear that she's holding here?
Yeah.
The end of it seems to be made of light.
Yes.
Light can't hurt you.
It's not made of light.
Isn't it? It looks like it is.
It looks like it, but I don't think it is.
This is a reprint, if I'm not mistaken.
You are mistaken.
Oh, it's not a reprint.
It's not a reprint. It's the second version of Iverson.
Iverson from Iverson Restored, the third set of...
was ridiculously crazy. Mainly in EDH.
In the Strad block. She is 2 colourless and 3 white. Now, that's restrictive. Yeah. That's restrictive as hell.
It is. The card looks great. But the heavy white mana cost is a drawback. Yes. And it's basically unsplashable.
If it was 3 colourless, 2 white, it would be mythic good. Yes. Probably. So she's a Flying Vigilance, a 5/4 Flying Vigilance. For 1 and a white, you can prevent all damage that will be dealt to another target creature this turn by sources of the colour of your choice. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then for 5 and 2 white, prevent all damage that will be dealt to target player this turn by sources of the colour of your choice. The second ability is too expensive.
The second ability is too expensive, but a 5/4 flying with vigilance for 5 with the added abilities of preventing damage, although you're mainly going to be using the first one. Although it doesn't protect herself, which is a downside, it's a good mana sink that you can prevent damage to your creatures, which is what white does, even though I don't like it.
Yeah.
This card's going to be incredible and limited.
She is a limited bomb.
Absolutely.
Probably the limited bomb.
Yes, she will absolutely own a game that she's in. Unless someone can get rid of her, and again, she's at 4 toughness, which makes her incredibly hard to be removed.
That takes her out of burn range, so hard removal.
Well, majority of burn range. There's a few spells that can do it, but you probably won't open as many as you need to get rid of this thing. This card's going to be incredibly limited. Standard is a possibility, but only if white gets enough support.
Yeah, only if mono white gets a reason to send the curve as high as 5. I think.
Yeah, because she's. It's not going to be splashable.
No,
it's too white.
I think they've designed it cleverly.
Yeah, because it's good, but it's not so good that it's going to break things. Because I think if it was less restrictive, it probably would be broken. Because it's just too good.
But so the both the keywords are good. Her first ability is pretty good because it only costs 2. Yeah. The second ability, I'm not really that keen on.
Yeah. So we're moving on to a very strange card.
Oh yeah.
In Hushwink Griff. I'm not sure what to think about this one at all.
It's a Hippogriff.
It's a Hippogriff, which is awesome. The art's weird, cool, I guess. Yeah. 2 and 1 white with flash and flying. Creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities trigger. It's a 2/1.
Wizards, you always talk about New World Order and how you're trying to make it simpler for newer players. This card is going to confuse so many people.
Yes, it will.
What's a triggered ability? Can I still activate this ability? Oh, what about that? It's just... Yeah.
Basically, the triggered abilities are when something enters, something happens, things like that.
I do know that this ability is a reprint of a different card. Like it was called Toper Orb, yeah. So it's not a completely new ability, but no. I think this ability seems archaic. Yes, personally,
it's a 2/1 flash flyer for 3 isn't bad for a creature on its own. It's good for limited because it's 2/1 flash flyer in white. That's good. You want to be able to have flyers. You want to be able to get little cheap damage over with cheap creatures. Yeah. But the real use comes in the ability to negate enter the battlefield triggers.
It hoses Constellation.
Yeah, I mean, people are already talking about this in Modern as well. Green-White Hate Bears is a sort of build in Modern. It's not like a massive build in Modern, but a deck which basically negates and nerfs as many threats as it can. Yeah. And then just like hits people with tiny little bear creatures, like 2 powered creatures, but it just sits there. It's like, you can't do anything. Yeah. You're not allowed to do anything. Yeah. But it's going to be okay and limited, as I said. The body's decent enough to do some work. In Standard, probably won't see much play until someone finds a way to abuse a certain enter the battlefield trigger.
I think this is a great sideboard card against any dick who uses Eidolon of... What is it? The green one.
Blossoms.
Blossoms, yeah.
Yeah.
Or any sort of Constellation deck at all.
Constellation is shut down by this completely. Yeah. It basically just, as you say, sideboard for Standard is good because it does shut down Constellation, which in F&M is seen a fair bit.
Well, it's cheap and accessible to make, and Constellation runs throughout the whole set so
there's always something relevant for you to pick up and put in
Journey into Nyx. So people can always put a Constellation deck together, and this will shut it down entirely.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to see massive amount of players. Well, said sideboard, but it's
one toughness. Any burn spell will do it in. So
yeah, but modern, it's going to make it somewhere. Yeah, that's for sure. Moving on to a card that is really horrible and really broke, in my opinion.
Chief Engineer.
It's going to be horrible in EDH in modern. I don't know about this in Standard or Limited because we haven't seen any tools that it would be able to use to compete.
So far, not so many artifacts
that are good enough to make it compete.
Hang on. The God's Weaponry are legendary artifacts.
Yeah, I mean...
But when is Whip of Erebos, when have you ever thought, I wish I could get this out a bit quicker?
It's not needed to be quicker.
I don't think so.
Biden or B-Day of Thassa
B-Day of Thassa
is...
There's a story there for another time, listeners.
Another time, another day, another place, another time. So, I don't know what that
just went too far.
I know, sorry.
Chief Engineer is 1 and 1 blue. It's a 1/3 creature.
See, that's good.
Well, it's blue, so you know it's a creature. It's going to have 1 toughness or 1 power.
Yes.
It's a... what's its race?
Its race is a Vidalcan.
Vidalcan Artificer.
Artificer. Yeah.
Artifact spells you cast have Convoke.
So as we say, EDH decks, which is like blue artifacts, I've played against that and it's horrible. It shuts you down by about turn 3 and you can't do anything. This is going to make it a lot quicker, probably to the point where it can be played on turn 1 or 2. And in Modern, there are decks like Tron and things that will use this.
Yeah.
Because those are the formats where artifacts can be easily abused because you get a chance to use the older ones. So it's going to be nuts in those things and can become a real nuisance. But in Standard, we haven't seen the tools yet. So we don't know about Standard, possibly, but probably not.
I think that maybe, they've dedicated a rare spot to this card. Maybe there'll be a few things.
Maybe.
Or maybe they've just printed a good rare for EDH, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
They seem to be doing that quite a lot. So just before we jump on to the next one that's on your list, there's one here which has just come out today that we haven't got on your list.
Yes, this came out sort of later this afternoon after I'd written up my notes about the set,
so
about the cards.
We can give this a cursory glance.
Yeah, let's have a look at Boone Weaver Giant, a massive 7-cost 4/4, a giant monk.
Giant monk!
Hey guys, I'm so holy. But you're 7 foot tall. Fuck you, and squishes you into the ground.
He doesn't talk. He's a monk.
He doesn't look like a monk. Look at him. He looks angry.
Looks like a badass.
He's like, hey, get out of my face.
When Boone Weaver Giant enters the battlefield, you may search your graveyard, hand, and/or library. So yet another searching your library card.
Yeah.
For an aura card and put it onto the battlefield attached to Boone Weaver Giant. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. Obviously. So
there are effects that do this in the past. I think Aura Touched Mage is one of them, if I remember that correctly, which was cheaper but had a lower... I think that was 5 cost but was a 3/3, but pretty much the same ability.
But this is just
I think it was just your library and not your hand and your... But this is stepped up slightly. In Limited, this is going to be pretty decent.
There's endless things that you could put this with to make it viable, I think.
Yeah, if in Limited you want to go for a green-white build, because you're not going to be able to ever get to that point in white where you've not died. Let's be honest. If you get to 7 mana and you've not won the game, or at least on your way to winning the game in white with the little weenie builds that you can make, you're probably going to lose. And even when you do, you're probably not going to want a 4/4 that might get a sort of semi-good enchantment. But if you play a green-white enchantment-y sort of build in Limited, and in Draft especially, you can do that a lot easier.
Yes.
Ramping up to this guy and then doing something could work. In Standard, no way. It's far too expensive. Far too expensive. If it had Convoke, how cool would that be?
Well,
things praying to him.
We don't... yeah, that's a good little flavour thing. You should work for Wizards.
I know, I should.
We don't know if maybe there's something that's going to give a creature Convoke yet. I doubt it, but...
Limited, it's okay. But it's a cool card, though.
It's a giant monk. It's uncommon as well, so you're gonna open one in a draft.
Yeah.
Necromancer Stockpile.
Awesome.
Enchantment.
It's awesome.
1 and 1 black. It's an enchantment for 1 and 1 black. Discard a creature card. draw a card. So that's all right on its own. If the discarded card was a zombie card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield tapped. So this is kind of pointing towards zombie tribal.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Zombie tribal, but it doesn't have to be zombie because discarding a creature card, then drawing a card is okay. Black's got ways of getting creatures back onto the battlefield, and it's sacrificial draw outlet, so it's black all over. Even without the 2/2 black zombie thing, as I said, it's filling your graveyard and drawing more options is a good thing, and also can make good use of Pharika.
Yes.
Because you're discarding things to give Pharika things to be a snake.
Yeah.
And then, once she's got her junk to turn into snakes, you're getting more options to play with in your hand.
Okay, cool.
So I think it's quite cool.
I wouldn't use it for the card draw simply because Underworld Connections exists.
Underworld Connections is better, but once that goes out, this is okay. It's not superb, like Underworld Connections is amazing.
Yes.
Necromancer Stockpile is good if you build around it.
Yes.
Limited, as in draft, if you build around it, it's good. Standard, possibly sometime, not right now.
Oh no, this card's shit.
This card's the worst in the set so far for me.
I don't like the art.
On so many fronts. Artwork, I'm sorry, but it's rubbish. The name...
I am really sorry. I feel so bad whenever I diss artwork on a card. The guy who did this art, this guy who did this art is never going to listen to this.
And he's so talented. Shit. Whoever the artist is so talented. However, the art direction they were given was terrible. And the name is awful. Might makes right.
I hate it.
Fuck off.
To be fair, I've got a little bit of a feeling of this towards Garrick, Apex Predator. I don't like it when they use Earth terms and like colloquialisms and descriptors that could only really be used to us. Yeah. To cards in Magic. So
I see what you mean, like very human things.
Yeah, Might Makes Right is like an English language sort of, not a mnemonic, but you know what I mean. It's like a phrase. Term. It's like a phrase. Apex Predator is something that we use to describe like
Randy Orton.
Well, Randy Orton and also coyotes.
What?
In particular. So stuff like that.
We?
Yeah, stuff like that I don't like.
No.
Names I do like, stuff like Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, that's really cool. It invokes a certain imagery. This doesn't.
There was another card with a similar name recently, and we spoke about it a little bit, and I hated it. And
what was that?
I think it was Waste Not. You said you really didn't like the name.
That was Waste Not. Yeah. I don't like the name.
And it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
That's like a human. I don't like to say the word human because humans exist in Magic, but like
it's a very real human thing.
Yes, it's like a Milky Way. Earth thing. You know what I'm saying.
I was thinking of the Milky Bar Kid then. Anyway, the card is just confusing and bad. As you said, the New World Order thing where people want to be able to play Magic easily.
Especially at uncommon level as well, I think.
I really don't like it. It's expensive, confusing to newer players, non-intuitive, the artwork's bad, the name's bad, the cost is bad. If you control the creatures with the highest power, which is what this thing does, if at the beginning of your combat... on your turn, if you control each creature on the battlefield with the greatest power, gain control of target creature and opponent controls, and until the end of turn, untap that creature and it gains haste, and you can attack with it. If you've got creatures...
It's just win more.
It's a win more 6 mana enchantment. What's the point?
When would I ever want that to be at the top of my curve?
Never. If you've got the creatures with the highest power, you're going to be winning anyway. Why do you have to pay 6 mana to steal a creature?
No, not necessarily.
You will be though. It's just bad.
I wouldn't even pick this in draft. If I was drafting red and this,
do you know what?
This got passed to me last card, I'd be gutted.
If I needed a 24th pick in sealed, obviously 24th being because you were playing like 16 land.
Yeah.
It was between this. It was between this and a token card that I couldn't even cast. I'd sleeve up a token. I hate it that much.
Oh,
it sucks.
It's shit.
Not gonna be seen in anything. Nothing. Get out.
It's a shame because it's just someone's put effort into this and it's just gonna rot.
It's terrible.
Go nowhere.
Moving on to a card that's not terrible. It's another green card. Life's Legacy. It's really good.
More green, lovely.
Green card draw is always great. This is no exception. Do you want to go over it?
Yeah, man. Life's Legacy. The art is a unicorn with a lemon tree growing out of its back. It's 1/1 green. It's a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Life's Legacy, sacrifice creature. draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power. So green suffers with card draw abilities.
It does.
And this one is kind of making up for it in spades because it is whatever you want to make out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways this can work. Harmonise, which is a great green draw spell, which is like an EDH staple for green decks, is a great card for green draw, and this has a potential to be even better, as you can refresh your hand by getting rid of a creature you don't really need. Plus, also, moving backwards a bit to talk about Nissa, you can actually, if you've got enough land, sack a land and draw 4 cards.
Yeah.
And then you're probably going to draw an extra land to replace the one with you sacked.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a really good way to actually use Nissa with the land making into a creature thing if you don't want to attack with it. It seems to be the best option for Life's Legacy if you're going to be playing it in the same deck as Nissa, which you probably will be.
Yes.
It's going to see playing FNMs and Standard. I think it's great. All round, probably every format that we have like around now, like Limited, which is obviously Sealed and Draft, it's going to see play.
Yeah.
Because you like card drawing those things, you like card drawing Standard, and in EDH it's great as well.
It's well costed.
Yeah, it is very well costed.
Very.
Very well costed.
I'll play it.
Yeah, I'd play a 4 of.
Yeah.
Like 1 green would be busted, so it's, as you say, it's casted very well. We're moving on, and this is a little cycle here of some like creatures that get better if you play around with 2 specific colours. So if you play around with specific guild colours,
yeah, this is kind of like Ravnica Light, Diet Ravnica.
Yeah, Diet Ravnica.
I like that.
Available now in stores. The only one to really see play in the last cycle, because there was things like Prized Elephant and all these sorts of things, was Flint Hoofball, which saw playing like Jund and Gruul around, I think that was M13, I think, that had those. So let's see if any of these cut the mustard. And we start with Dauntless River Marshal, which is okay. In the right deck, it's going to be a 3/2 for 2, which is really good.
Yes.
So in Limited, it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it's above curve, it's going to be good. And it has like a tapping thing to boot as well, so it gets +1/+1 as you control if you control an island. And you can pay 3 and 1 blue to tap target creature, which is good. Mana sinks in Limited are good. It's not going to see much play outside of Limited. Maybe FNMs, because newer players will like the fact that it's a 3/2 for 2.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good based on that. I mean, if you in your opening hand you have a Dauntless River Marshal,
A what?
I was gonna say an island and the plains, then you've got a 3/2 for 2 on turn 2, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, or on shocks count for both. They count for plains and an island. So, I mean, maybe it could see a bit of standard play.
I think
who knows? But FNM, I think definitely.
In Limited, being able to tap target creatures is good as well, especially in Limited.
But I think FNMs could definitely see it. I think it's one of the better ones out of this cycle.
And it's uncommon as well, so you will see them.
Yeah, you will.
I can't believe I just completely blanked on the name of
a basic land.
Of a basic land.
That is
island.
impressive.
I wanted to say river. It's not river.
It's definitely not a river. Moving on to Juror by Merklurker. Herpa-derpa-derka-derka-stan.
This is another one in the same cycle.
So this is Dimir colours. So it's 2 and 1 blue. It's a 1/3. Gets +1/+1 as you control Swamp. And really weirdly, for a blue card, it can gain lifelink by paying 1 and 1 black.
And target creature gains lifelink, till end of turn.
So you can give it to itself, or you can give it to another creature. But having lifelink on a blue card, like, I've seen people on Reddit, and Reddit is a hotbed for stupidity at the moment.
Well,
it really
Reddit is...
It's Reddit.
Reddit's always been Reddit. If you put something insightful on there, then be prepared to get downvoted.
Yeah.
But if you put a picture of a squirrel riding a motorbike, then sky's the limit, baby.
Reaping the karma. But people were complaining again because it breaks the colour pie. Why are blue cards being able to give lifelink or have lifelink? Just be quiet. It's interesting. It's odd. It has the potential to be a 2/4 lifelink or give something lifelink.
And you have to cast black to do the ability anyway, so
it doesn't matter. But it's just like the River Marshal. It could see decent limited play, possibly FNM again, because in the right decks, due to the power and toughness being above curve for 3 mana, newer players are going to like it. Plus the artwork's quite fun.
Yeah,
I think it appeals to new players.
It's not a completely shit blocker.
No.
But being able to give other things lifelink is pretty cool.
Yeah, in blue, that's like really relevant actually, because it's a different control style.
Yeah, and like we say, 4 toughness, hard to kill. So this might be able to sit there, until your opponent can deal with it, and you give your most powerful creature lifelink over and over again. So it's pretty good.
It is.
I like it.
Moving on to Nightfire Giant, which is one of the cards that is on the booster packs. This is the artwork that was on the booster pack. We were trying to find. Me and Alex, we were trying to figure out what that creature could be.
Just
we were like, oh my god. And I was like, could it be Grave Titan? No, it can't. It's terrible.
It's Ghost Rider's dad.
It's the Nick Cage's
and he's disappointed.
It's old Nicolas Cage.
Ghost Rider's come home for Christmas, and he's why didn't you do something with your life riding on your motorbike?
I'm sorry, Dad. I was too busy. I was too busy acting like a vampire. I'm sorry, Dad. And he just hates him, and he's like, I am disappointed, son.
I am disappointed. I am on purple fire.
That's how disappointed he is. But
on the purple fire.
I'm turning it on. It's coming.
Don't do it, Daddy.
Don't do it. It's going purple. But anyway, this is how bad this card is. That this is how we have to talk about it. It's the worst of the cycle.
Probably
far too expensive for what it does. Paying 5 for a 4/3 that could be a 5/4. It's undercurve.
His ability
the others are overcurve.
Yeah.
Why is this undercurve? I don't get it.
This is bad on both fronts. It's not like it's undercurve, so it's got a really broken ability. It hasn't. It's shit.
The ability is like a recurrent shock. In limited, maybe as a 20th pick.
Yeah.
It's okay.
If you've got 10 mana open, then you can deal 4 damage.
Yeah. It's not great. I mean, limited, it's, as I say, 20th plus pick because shock, but it's below curve where the rest are above curve.
Yeah.
That's all you need to say about it. It's not the best, possibly limited. That's about it.
Look at this Gruul Ape.
Oh my god. I love it.
Karrde Chieftain. He looks vicious.
This is Karrde Ape's older brother.
Yeah, apparently.
Or his puppy.
His pappy.
Everyone thought Karrde Ape was going to get reprinted, including me when I saw the artwork. But Karrde Chieftain, which is okay. It's the best out of the cycle.
Yeah, easily.
I think it's just above the white one.
Yeah.
3/3 for 4 mana that could be a 4/4 if you control a forest.
So
4/4 for 4, it's on curve.
On curve at best.
And then it's plus, not plus ability, it's not Planeswalker. It's 5 cost ability, 4 and 1 green. Target creature gets +2/+2 and trample. So it's pretty good.
Pluses and trample, they go together like...
Shoe up, do up.
Yeah, they go together like...
Cookies in my mouth.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I was trying to think of those cookies and cream.
I was going to say something like ebony and ivory, and you're just like...
Cookies in my mouth.
They go together like cereal and a bowl. Even that's better than what you said.
Anyway, yeah. So it gives things +2/+2 and trample, which is pretty good. Again, it's not going to probably see standard play.
You say this about every damn card.
Yeah, because it's not. It's just not. It's not going to see... It's not, I'm sorry.
It's not, I know it's not. I know the truth of it. It's not.
I mean, this is the one that's most likely to see standard play. It's still not going to, because it's just... I mean, it's not as good. Maybe after everything's rotated and we've just got, this sort of slower thing that obviously this is bringing around...
Yeah, this is clearly bringing around some slowed down meta.
Then... That's okay. It might get there, but right now in standard it's not going to see play. But in limited, it's really good. It has the potential. It has the most potential to make it in standard.
Yeah.
Amazing in limited. Could see decks in FNM like the white one. Moving on to the green guy. This one's actually really, really bad.
Yeah.
It looks good because it's a 1-mana 1/1 that could be a 2/2. Oh my god! But this card is, as I say, all smoke, no fire. Turn 2, this could be a 2/2, but it still might be a 1/1 with an incredibly expensive anthem effect.
There's way too much disparity between its casting cost and its ability cost.
That's the thing. The other ones,
huge. So
other ones don't have much between them.
If you put this out when it makes sense to put it out, you're going to have to wait 4 turns before you can do anything. So.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It could just sit around being a 1/1 for a while, and even when it's a 2/2, so... It doesn't do anything for ages.
No.
And it's not big enough like Karrde Chieftain. It doesn't have good abilities like the Merc Lurker or the Marshal. It's just not great. It's better than Nightfire Giant because it's a 1-drop.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it's better than Nightfire Giant. So, there you go. Limited maybe. That's about it.
I'd play it in limited.
I would because it's a 1 thing.
It's a 1-drop.
It's a 1-drop. But other than that, no, it's not great. Moving on to the Kithkin man.
The Kithkin man.
The Kithkin guy, the preeminent captain. Kithkins, look how cute he is.
Can he swing a sword? The Kithkin man can do it. You know that song?
A really shit version of Candyman.
Oh, the Candyman did it.
What did he do? Mind you, in that film,
All sorts. Have you seen the guy who sings the songs for him? He's seen loads.
He's seen some things. He's seen Preeminent Captain's penis.
Preeminent Captain is Kithkin soldiers, 2 and 1 white. Here's a 2/2 with first strike. Whenever Preeminent Captain attacks you may put a soldier creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. That's good.
It's good. It screams build around me. Build around my solderness. It's really cool.
We're going to probably see quite a few more soldiers in this set at the common level, I think.
Which is okay.
I think we'll see a lot of common soldiers.
It can also give another Preeminent Captain the chance to come onto the battlefield with it, and a 2/2 first strike for 3 is not laughable. It's good.
Yes,
limited, it's very good. It's going to be insanely good in limited, especially in draft, because you can build around it with a soldier theme.
Yeah, the only problem with draft is unless you're very lucky, you're not going to get soldier after soldier after soldier, which is what you'd want with this guy.
Yeah, but I mean, there is the option to build around it. In sealed, even less likely, but like in draft, there is a bit of an option to
Depending
do that.
on what we see come with the rest of the set, and I'll make a bit of a call here. In Khans, from what I've seen, promotional art, all that kind of thing, there will be soldiers.
Soldiers and warriors, definitely.
Yes, so I think that this will see standard play, Preeminent Captain.
Do you think so?
I do.
Ooh.
I think that it might not be the best deck. It might not be the best deck in the format, but I think you'll be able to build... I think Soldier Tribal will happen when Khans of Tarkir hits.
Wow, okay. Big prediction. I like the prediction, and I want to agree with you.
I could just see it happening.
I think you could be onto something, you know? I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility.
No.
But right now, it's going to need some serious support to be viable.
Yeah, if in limited, unless quite a few soldier tokens get printed at common, soldier creatures get printed at common, then basically it's a 2/2 first strike, so it's okay. But I think later on down the line, this will shine. I think this card is good enough.
I think it'll definitely see F&M play, because someone wants to do the soldier. There's always someone that wants to do tribal decks.
Yeah.
And, you know, Soldier Tribal's a nice one for youngsters and for new players to get into, because it's sort of familiar to them. It's not like something weird like Vampire Tribal, Snake Tribal like we play in EDH. It's soldiers, it's human. You understand the abilities, they hit first. You know, all these sorts of things. So F&M, I think, could make it.
It's kind of like a really neutered Brimaz, which is fine, because Brimaz is still in standard. We don't need another Brimaz.
No, we don't need one.
But this is... I'll just say I've never seen Brimaz do anything at F&M. It comes out and gets killed every time. Anyway, that's off the point. But I think Preeminent Captain will do well, and I really like this card.
Good, I do. I think it's good. I'm glad we agree about him, because he's cool.
Reprint.
What?
Is it a reprint, the next one?
What, Stoke the Flames?
No, not Stoke the Flames. I was getting ahead of myself.
Oh, you certainly were.
Oh, look at this art.
I know, isn't it cool?
Oh, it's what?
Stoke the Flames.
It's one coloured mana off being brilliant.
It is. It really is. It's still a great card for draft and limited, but as Alex said, it's 1 mana too expensive to be standard. Although Convoking is going to reduce the cost. It's 2 and 2 red, uncommon, instant, with Convoke, deals 4 damage to target creature or player. In red decks are going to be wanting to swing a lot, so Convoking creatures to make a burn spell cheaper is not going to be the best option, because you might want to be swinging more with your creatures. As you said, with it being, if it was 1 mana less, either 2 red and 1, or 2 and 1 red.
I think 2 and 1 red would be asking too much.
Yes.
But I think 1 and 2 red...
I would have pushed it into standard.
Yeah, because
all you have to do then is convoke 1 creature, and it's a 2 cost extra thing than Lightning Strike.
Yeah, maybe that's a bit too good. But you've got to pay. You've got to pay. You've
got to tap something to make it better than Lightning Strike. Which is fine.
Or pay the mana. I mean, what's Mizzium Moors? Mizzium Moors is 1 red for a sorcery speed, 4 damage.
Well, 1 red and 1. What? 2. 2 mana.
2 mana. 1 and 1 red.
1 and 1 red, yeah.
What I meant. For sorcery speed. So, it would be very good.
but it wouldn't be broken.
It wouldn't be.
I think they sort of slightly, you know, if they were hitting the ball out the park with Garrick, they've sort of dropped this one just short. I think it could have made it really like a decent card, but it's still good. It's still, don't get me wrong, it's a good card.
I think this will see play personally.
I think it could do as like one of two of.
I know what we're both saying is, this could be like the Jesus of burn spells.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not. But I think
it's just the Moses.
It's just Moses.
It's just Moses.
It's
not. It's just helping the Jews across a big lake.
No,
That's
it's not even Moses doing that. It's Moses.
What's he doing?
Like cutting the water in half. Whatever he does.
He's not even gone over yet. He's just
this is him
pissing about in the water. He's having a paddle.
This is him looking at shells.
In Dixon's. Why is he going in Dixon's? Look at shells.
Dixon's? No, he's looking at shells inside. Look, guys, I found a conch shell. Damn it, Moses.
Oh, I thought you said shelves.
No, not shells. It's in B&Q looking at shells. You dick. Shells, that makes loads more sense. He was by the water.
So, guys, moving on from that awful misunderstanding about shelf units.
It's like 11 p.m. We're both...
Yeah. It's
tiddly.
literally just hit what? Yeah.
Just hit 11 p.m. Oh my god.
Yeah, my brain melted just then.
This is a good card.
It's very good. Phyrexian Revoker is a legacy and modern staple reprint, and is always good news for prospective players going into those formats. That's something that is as expensive as this would be.
Yeah.
That it's getting reprinted. So it's pretty damn awesome. It's a 2/1 for 2. Enters the battlefield, name a non-land card. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated. It's basically...
Pithing Needle on a creature.
It certainly is. Although Needle hits Mutavault, which is good.
Uh-huh.
Phyrexian Revoker doesn't hit Mutavault, but it's going to be great at two things mainly, and that is 1, stopping gods, and 2, stopping planeswalkers.
Absolutely.
Didn't see Standard play the first time round, weirdly enough.
No?
Because of it being in a world of crazy power. Like this was around when there were better artifacts to be playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it sees good play in Legacy and Modern, as I said, things like Tron, etc., and Affinity, but it didn't see Standard play simply for the fact that the power level was too high. But now the power level's a lot lower. It's going to be given its chance, I think.
There's absolutely zero possibility of this not seeing a lot of play in Standard.
Even in just sideboard, it will see play.
Definitely.
It will be one of the most played cards, probably knowing how dominant some of the Planeswalkers and Gods are going to be. Coming in, especially when Ravnica goes out. Yeah,
because remember, once Ravnica goes out, people are going to have to rely on what they know a bit more, and what they know is the Gods.
Yeah, and what they know is great Planeswalkers like Ajani, like Nissa, and Phyrexian Revoker can stop them. Yeah. It can even stop a Garrick.
Even Garrick died.
Even Garrick gets this little sort of insect on him, and the insect's like, I'm going to get you. and the Garrick can't deal with it. He's like scratching, and he's like, get off me.
How big is this thing, do you think, scale?
I mean,
wise. I imagine, like...
I think it's probably bigger than Garrick, let's be honest.
Oh, I was imagining something like really
Mind
small.
you, I don't know. Possibly. The art really doesn't help out with that. No. But it's cool art, but the art doesn't help.
The art's a bit comic booky for me, but...
I think it's alright. But anyway, yeah, it's going to see Standard play, that make no mistake about it. If you get some impacts, stick them in a binder, because they'll keep value, for sure, as well.
Obelisk of Erd, more like Obelisk.
What have you heard about this market?
I was going to say turd. That was going to be my joke. It's not, though. It's really good.
It's really good. In certain things, it's begging to be shoved in one of our EDH decks.
Yeah.
It will be. Into mine. I don't know about yours. Into tribal decks. Me and Alex play tribal EDH decks. It's too expensive even with Convoke. Does he Standard play? I'm sorry. I know I keep saying it's not...
There's not enough tribal. As we know it now, there's not enough tribal archetypes for this to be considered brilliant in Standard anyway.
But build it into like a sort of decent Minotaur F&M build.
Yeah, but that's pretty... But I mean, again, from what we know now, that's pretty much the only time you will be able to use it effectively.
Yeah, but I could see
it... in the one tribal staple that is in...
that is at F&M, which is Minotaurs.
Yeah. Which even then, in the last 6 months, I've played once. Against once.
I think I've played it against a few times, but...
This enables it. There is technically the Centaurs.
Yeah, so basically what happens is it's got Convoke and you enter the battlefield, choose a creature type, creatures of that chosen type get +2/+2. Straightforward, does work, it's good.
If you're playing Tribal EDH, which a lot of people are, brill card.
Yeah, I mean, you could draft around it, It's a risk because you can only probably hit 2 or 3 creatures effectively.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And do not touch it in sealed. No way to touch it in sealed because you won't get the reliability of being able to pick that creature type. You know, if you choose horror, for example, and you get 1 Phyrexian Revoker,
well done.
There you go.
you've got a 4/3
that's just going to get pinged. And you've paid so much mana for it.
This does what it does very well, but what it does is a bit niche for standard implications.
Yes. Let's move on to one of our last spoilers. We've got a couple more to talk about, and this one is awesome. It's another reprint. Urgborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth.
Oh, this is lore crazy.
This is, and let's read the flavour text from Lord Windglace.
Yawgmoth's corpse is a wound in the universe. His foul blood seeps out, infecting the land with his final curse. Fucking love it.
Yawgmoth is...
That's what it said at the end. Fucking love it.
Fucking love it, says Lord Windglace. Yawgmoth is awesome. I'll let you go and research him because there's too much for me to talk about. But he is... I mean, if you've ever seen the card Plague Wind, that is pretty much Yawgmoth. He's just a massive, horrible beast. He's horrible. He's one of the original sort of big bad guys.
Yeah.
Of the Magic universe.
He's so cool, his grave got its own name.
I know. But it's so we've got a legendary land, and each land is a swamp in addition to its other types. It's an awesome card that so many players are excited to see. It's actually one of the cards Reddit didn't have a problem with.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a $40 card that clearly needed a reprint.
We could sit here all night and just explain and sort of try and figure out all the ways that this is ace. It's just ace.
It's really good. It really is good. It's accessible now, you know, if it's going to get reprinted for EDH players, because I want one, and I've never been able to afford one.
Yeah.
And also Eternal formats use it a little bit. And could be a real bomb in Standard.
In Standard, it enables Cryptghast really well.
And it makes pretty much every deck be able to splash for black removal just by playing one.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I now have like dual lands. I have Golgari dual lands for everything, or I have Rakdos dual lands for everything, or whatever you need. It makes black so reliable if you want to splash for it, and also it makes Mutavault tap for black, which makes Mutavault better again.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks for that. But I mean, it's really, really cool.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. I mean, you can probably think of a million ways right now, and trust me, we've thought of a million more. It's fantastic. If you get it again, like Phyrexian Revoker, stick it in your binder. It's going to keep its value, probably not at $40, because obviously with reprinting it's going to go down, but foils of this are going to be going through the roof.
Yeah.
Keep them, enjoy them, play them, make a deck round it. It's amazing.
Yes.
Moving on to our last set of spoilers, and we're going to look at the whole series of Painlands. We have the reprint of Painlands.
First things first, what's your favourite thing about them?
Art.
The art is fantastic on all of these.
All done by, I don't think they're all done by Rob Alexander, but I think he does 3 of them, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, he does. Yes.
Which ones are they?
Shivan Reef, Caves of Koilos,
yeah.
and Llanowar Race.
Yeah, Llanowar
Race.
Llanowar.
Llanowar Waste. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. So these are red, white, white, black, black, green, green, blue, and blue, red. They are awesome.
Yeah.
They're not that awesome that you want to play 4 of them, because they hurt you every time you use them.
Are these the enemy colours? They are, aren't they?
Yes, they're all enemy-coloured things.
So if you're wondering why they haven't got every colour combo, it's they've decided to use the that as the framework.
Yes.
They're the opposing colours.
Usually they go the opposite way around.
Yeah,
so
they
it's
usually
quite
go
interesting.
allied colours.
Yes, so it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So Battlefield Forge is the red and white one. Cave of Koilos is the black-white. Llanowar Waste is the black-green.
Yavimaya Coast is the green-blue. Shivan Reef is the blue-red.
They all look great. They're all going to look insane in foil, or even just the normal ones. I like the fact they don't have like the guild symbols.
Earlier,
actually looks really nice with like not having them there.
Just straight gradient.
Do you know what? They look
nice.
They look like classic old cards.
They do.
Because the artwork's old still.
Yeah.
It's got this nice new frame, but it's still got that sort of with no guild symbol thing, which I really, really think.
They do have like an ancient flavour to them.
They really do.
What's your favourite art? Just sort of.
My favourite art is Yavimaya Coast.
Oh, mine's Llanowar Waste.
I just think I mean, I really like blue-green land anyway.
No, the caves of Koilos as well.
I mean, that's great. To be fair, they're all pretty cool.
Yeah,
I even like Battlefield Forge because it's clearly
it's
clearly done by a it's drawn.
Yeah.
It's not digitalized.
No.
I mean, none of these are because they're older artwork, but that one you can tell that some love's gone into it and it's a different style.
So this is what we've got in exchange for the shocks that will go out.
Yes. I mean, it's good that they seem reprinted in a core set, and they're all going to find homes in decks running multiple colours, but you're not going to need 4 of them, as I
you
said.
won't want 4 of, no.
Because you're going to be losing too much life. With Shocklands, you sometimes play them in tap, but you might want to pay 2 life, but that's it for the rest of the game.
That's
you don't
it,
have to
just
pay it
one
again.
time you can do it.
This is every time it's going to deal 1 damage. So in 3 turns, it's already exceeded a shock. But it's going to be...
Anyone who's used Mana Confluence,
yeah,
will attest to...
that sometimes it can make you lose a lot of damage, a lot of life very quickly.
Yeah.
It's useful in the right place, as all dual lands are, so these are going to be fantastic. So there we are, guys.
So yeah, there's the spoilers, guys. Hope you've enjoyed that.
Some really cool stuff. And we're going to go on next week to talk about a few more. Obviously, there's still going to be a few more to talk about before the releases.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to talk about what's going on in Standard, what's going on in the meta game, our favourite cards and the best cards in Standard.
Yeah.
Of which some cross over, some don't.
Yes.
But we'll have to talk about that next week because we've run out of time on Chump blockers.
But thanks very much for sitting down and letting us talk to your ear hole.
Yeah, let us creep into your ears.
I'm in
like
there.
a brain maggot.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
I didn't figure out that art for ages, but
There we go.
regardless, thanks very much for listening to Chump Blockers, guys. I'm Alex.
And I'm Noah.
And we'll see you next week.